Something that is truly haunting me right now is Allie Carter's story and the fact that CPS has been the biggest suppliers of children. When I was in college to become a teacher, I wanted to be a social worker. A month before I graduated college, I put in for an application to be a Child Protective Services investigator. When I got there, there were hundreds of people applying for the same position. I asked for the conservatorship position because I had done a lot of research on different job titles at CPS. Conservatorship reunites families back together, and that is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to remove any children from their home. That's not what I wanted my job title to be. So I asked for that position, and a month later, they offered it to me, and I was thrilled, beyond thrilled. I thought that I would retire as a CPS conservatorship. I thought that I would reunite so many families back together, but I was wrong. I started out with cases that involved some kind of like some minor things, I guess you would compare to cases that I ended up getting. I did that for a while, and then I got transferred to the Children's Advocacy Center. These were the cases that were on the news. Really difficult, hard, very dark cases that stuck out to me, and I still have not ever forgotten. It was a case of a 3-year-old little girl who was being trafficked out of a hotel by her mother and her mother's boyfriend. She then moved to a foster home, and that foster home then trafficked her. It was on a Friday that I found this out. Me and the CPS attorney had collaborated together, and we wanted to remove the child immediately from the home. However, we were told that we had to keep the child there until the Monday that the judge would be back into the courtroom. So the whole entire weekend, the child would have to stay at that foster home. So obviously my mind went in all kinds of directions, and I wanted to immediately go over there, grab her up, take her home, and wait for Monday to talk to the judge. And I was told if I did this, then I would go to jail for kidnapping, and that the child would immediately go back to the foster home that they were being trafficked out of, and the process would have to start all over again. So I talked to my supervisor and begged her, how can we get this child out of the situation right now? Like, I can work on all of the paperwork while she's with me. That's fine. You know, like, I'm okay with that. I just need her out of that situation. I'm her caseworker. Can't I go pick her up for a few days and keep her with me? The answer was no. Trust me, I was going to break the law and go pick up that child anyways. But I knew what would happen if I did, and it would not be good for her. So I worked all weekend long on the paperwork, looking for her a new home, everything. And finally, Monday came, and I got to remove that child, and I honestly don't even remember, or not remember, but I don't know what ended up happening to that foster home. But I am thinking about this right now. It never left my mind, but I'm thinking about this right now because of everything that's coming out about CPS being involved with supplying the children. This was the case that made me leave CPS for good. I couldn't believe that I had to leave that child in that situation for even just a few more minutes, let alone a whole weekend. Really making me wonder some things. But you know, CPS, a lot of the caseworkers, they use their power for no good. Obviously that's coming out, but I'll tell you about a caseworker that I went and told on. I shared an office with her, and she was very angry at a dad in court who I guess had gotten close to her, was yelling at her, and some spit flew from his mouth and landed on her face. She told me that she was going to keep his son away from him because of that. Could not believe my ears. She was laughing about it. Some people who get put in powerful positions really abuse it, and I wasn't going to let her get away with that. I was just not going to let her get away with that. So I went to my supervisor, and then I filed a report on her. I don't know what ended up happening with that either. But CPS is very shady. And when I decided to leave, they actually harassed me. They showed up at my home. They taped notes to my door. They withheld money from me that I earned, like taking the tolls and gas money that they're supposed to reimburse. CPS is all around corrupt, and I'm glad to see that it's about to get taken down. I learned the history of CPS on Fall of the Cabal just this year, and it's been several years since I've worked at CPS, and it made me sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe I thought I was making some huge difference and went and worked for CPS because I wanted to save the children of the world who have been abused, when really they're the ones who are supplying the children in the most horrific abusive situations.